Hello children, how are you doing? This is Dr. Shweta Malani, your biology coach, and here we are into class 11, another lecture, and as we know we are into the third chapter, Plant Kingdom, and since this is a sixth lecture today, obviously we have covered up quite a lot, and that division of plant that we are going to take up today, that is your pteridophytes, right? So in pteridophytes we have already done many characteristics while going through a comparative account. आपको याद होगा मैंने अपने पहले और दूसरे लेक्चर में आई गिव यू अ कंपैरेटिव स्टडी ऑफ सम characters of all the 5 types of plant, that is algae, bryophyte, pteridophyte, gymnosperms and angiosperms. So while doing that we have already come across many of their characters. Like we all know that pteridophytes are basically habitat wise they are amphibious. Amphibious means yes, they are terrestrial plants, they have root, stem and leaf, but for gamete transfer they still require water. As a result they are found around moist places. So since they require water for gamete transfer, we call them amphibians. All pteridophytes are multicellular, there is no exception to it. Obviously the body is differentiated into root, stem and leaf. In fact the first plants jahan the plant has true root, true stem, true leaf, they are pteridophytes. In them, some of them they have underground stem called as rhizome as well. Now going through other characteristics, they are the first plants where the vascular bundles have developed. That means xylem and phloem is present, though the xylem does not contain vessels and the phloem does not contain sieve tubes and companion cells. The life cycle is typically called as haplodiplontic, right? And besides that, we know that in them the gametophyte contains antheridia and archegonia to make the male gamete and the female gamete, and both antheridia and archegonia are multicellular and jacketed. After fertilization, a multicellular embryo is formed. The gamete transfer still requires water. The fertilization though is internal, and in them the seeds are absent. They are the last plants where the seeds are absent. After that, gymnosperm onward, we will find that the seeds are present in the plant. So after going through that summary, now let us come to some important points regarding these plants. First, as I told you, these are the first plants which have vascular bundles, that is xylem and phloem. First plants, right? These are the first plant where the dominant phase is sporophyte. You must remember that in case of algae and bryophyte, the dominant phase was gametophyte, right? It is from pteridophyte onwards, from not only pteridophyte, from pteridophyte onward, that means pteridophyte, gymnosperms and angiosperm, here the plant body is sporophyte. So we can definitely say that pteridophytes are the first plant where the dominant phase is the sporophytic phase, right? So this from pteridophyte onward we call the plants as vascular plants because they have vascular bundles, and these vascular plants are basically into 3 groups. One is the seedless plant, that is the pteridophyte, then gymnosperms and angiosperms which actually contain seed. Now let us have a look at the different characteristics. So let us first come to the habitat. In case of habitat, we know that these plants they are found in damp, shady and humid places, and say why? Because they still require water for fertilization, right? So the plant body is this is the first plant where the plant body is differentiated into root, stem and leaf. So first we had habitat. They are found in cool and moist and shady places because they still require water for fertilization. Now coming to the plant body, for the first time they have 2 roots. The roots in them are adventitious roots, right? The root in them are adventitious roots, okay? Now let us come, next they have true stem. Achha, and these roots are true roots. Why are we calling them as true roots? Because the roots are used both for anchorage and absorption, right? They are being used both for anchorage and absorption. So those type of roots which are actually doing absorption, they are called as true roots. So they are performing both the functions of the root, so we call them true root. Now come to the stem. The stem is also a true stem. Why do we call them a true stem? Because they bear vascular bundles. You know that these are the first plants which have vascular bundles, and besides they have nodes. You can see clear-cut nodes over here, and the distance between 2 nodes is internodes. So the stem is characterized by 2 things. One, presence of vascular bundles, and the second, presence of nodes. Nodes which are the places from where the leaves arise. Nodes ही वो जगह है stem में जहाँ से leaves बनते हैं, and the distance between 2 nodes is called as internode. तो एक typical stem के जितने character होते हैं, that means they must have vascular bundle, they must have nodes from where leaves arise, and they must have a distinct internodes. All these things are present. So these are the first plants where we have a true root, but the roots are adventitious type. We also have true stem. Another interesting thing about them is, which we have learnt earlier as well, that some part of the stem it grows underground, and this underground stem found in pteridophytes, this is called as rhizomes. Okay? These are the first plant, they have vascular bundles. So now let us come to the next part, that is the leaves. We have done root, we have done stem, now let us come to the leaves. As you can see here, the leaves are the true leaves. Now what is a true leaf? A true leaf is one. First, these are areas of photosynthesis. First, ठीक है, ये एक true leaf है, and secondly, a true leaf has veins. So pteridophytes में leaves do have veins. इनके फरकेट टाइप के वेनेशन होते हैं, they do have veins, and that is a characteristic of true leaf. But in some plants, the leaves are very small in size. You can see here, the leaves are very small in size. Such small leaves are called as microphyll. Micro means small, phyll means leaf. In biology, phyll means leaf and micro means small. And इसका example में आएगा Selaginella. So this is the diagram of Selaginella. I must tell you, इस chapter में medical में example based questions बहुत ज़्यादा आते हैं, ठीक है? तो you have to just learn it. In some the leaves are small. These leaves are called as microphylls. A very good example of that is Selaginella. In some the leaves may be bigger in size. हालांकि the leaves may be bigger in size. You can see that. Such big leaves, they are called as macrophylls. Again, you know, macro means large and phyll means leaves. So since they have large leaves, then we call them macrophylls. And the example is fern. Right? So this example also you have to learn. अब हो गया आपका ये. Now coming to the next, the main plant body is a sporophyte. So what characters we have done? We have already done that pteridophytes. They are the first land plants. They are the first plants where the body is divided into root, stem and leaf. The root is the adventitious root. The stem has true vascular bundle, and the leaf are the true leaves which contain veins, which will be small in size or big in size. Right? They are though they are land plants, they still depend on water for reproduction, so we call them amphibians. Now these are the first plant you must be remembering where the dominant plant body is a sporophyte. Where the dominant plant body is a sporophyte. Now let me tell you what. मैं आपको कुछ fundamental concept देना चाहती हूँ. You know that plants are of 5 types. One is algae, I'm just writing A. The second is bryophyte, just writing B. Third is pteridophyte, just writing P. Fourth is gymnosperm, just writing G. And fifth is angiosperm A. You know that in all types of plants, they alter between 2 phases. Now one of the phases is called as sporophyte. मैं किसी को भी ऊपर लिख देती हूँ. One of the phases is called as sporophyte. And the other phase is called as gametophyte. And you know that all plants, they alternate between these 2 phases. Gametophyte. Now you know that the task of sporophyte is what? To make spores. So let us go for its task. So इसका task है to make spores. And these spores will germinate to form gametophyte. And what is the task of gametophyte? The task of gametophyte is to form gametes, male gamete and female gamete, which will fertilize to form zygote. And the zygote will again divide to form the sporophyte. This is found in all the plants. Now let us come here. Also we know that the ploidy of the sporophyte is 2n. We know that, and the ploidy of the gametophyte is n. Right? The spore is also n and the zygote is also 2n. So we know that the sporophyte undergoes meiosis. क्योंकि meiosis में chromosome will get half, 2n से n. Now this spore will divide to form gametophyte. Now gametophyte will form gamete. The gametes are always n, haploid. So since the plant is n, gamete is n, so the cell division here is going to be mitosis, जिससे gamete बनेगा, which will fuse to form zygote, which will form sporophyte. And all the 5 plants, algae, bryophyte, pteridophyte, gymnosperm, angiosperm, they show this alteration of phase. In some of them, the main plant body is gametophyte. Now which one of them? Algae and bryophyte. In algae and bryophyte, the main plant body is a sporophyte. जबकि in case of pteridophyte, gymnosperms and angiosperm, the main plant body is a sporophyte. So I have done it with the same color. Yellow से ये तीनों कर दिया है, इसको blue से कर दिया है, so that you know. So in that sense, we can say that this is the first plant where the dominant plant body is a sporophyte. जहाँ main plant body आपका sporophyte है. तो obviously अगर main plant body sporophyte है तो उसका काम क्या है? स्पोर बनाना. कैसे? meiosis से. फिर ये स्पोर गिरेगा, बनाएगा gametophyte. This gametophyte will form the gamete, male and female, which will form zygote, which will again form sporophyte. I have been repeating this cycle many times because assuming the fact that you are learning about this cycles, these cycles for the first time. आप पहली बार इन cycles को जान रहे हो. जितनी बार मैं repeat करूँगी उतना ज़्यादा आपका इस पर पकड़ बनेगा. It will be more thorough for you. right? So that is what I want to tell you. अब आपने ये देख लिया. These are the life cycles, you have seen that. Now this is the first plant, as I was telling you, that is pteridophyte, where the main plant body is a sporophyte. So you must remember, and that also goes to gymnosperms and angiosperm. In them the main plant body is sporophyte, right? अब ये जो sporophyte है बेटा, यही sporophyte is actually has this root, stem and leaf. ये जो आप ये वाला प्लांट का फेस देखते हो ना, जिसमें उसके पास रूट, स्टेम, लीफ होता है, जैसे आप आम का पेड़, इमली का पेड़, बरगद का पेड़ जो देखते हो, तो जो पेड़ देखते हो उसमें क्या देखते हो? इट हैज रूट, इट हैज स्टेम, इट हैज लीफ. दिस प्लांट बॉडी which is clearly identified by the presence of root, stem and leaf, this plant body is actually the sporophyte. This is actually the sporophyte. So since pteridophytes में it is the first plant जिसमें the plant body has been divided into root, stem and leaf, and this plant body which is made up of root, stem and leaf, this plant body is called as sporophyte. So in them the main plant body is a sporophyte. So sporophyte is the dominant phase. In gymnosperm and angiosperm also, any plant you see, you identify by the presence of root, stem and leaf. And as I told you, presence of root, stem and leaf, this structure is actually the sporophytic structure. So I am again and again repeating, in case of pteridophyte, gymnosperm and angiosperm, the main plant body is a sporophyte. Great. So now that the main plant body is a sporophyte, I will tell you few more things before I go to my PowerPoint once again. Now that I told you that the main plant body is a sporophyte, let me rub out some things so that we can I can explain you better. So now that we know that in pteridophytes the main plant body is a sporophyte, so obvious है, if the main plant body is a sporophyte, what will it form? It will form spores. Now अगला सवाल उठता है, where will it form the spores? So I have taught you again and again that spores, they are formed in special sac-like structures called as sporangia. Spore special sac-like structure बनता है, उसको हम कहते हैं sporangia. तो अगला सवाल उठता है, ये sporangia कहाँ present होगा? Where is this sporangia present? So let me just first tell you about a little bit about your pteridophytes जो अभी आपने पढ़ा है. If you remember in pteridophyte the main plant body was a gametophyte. So say I have made this as a gametophyte. इस gametophyte के ऊपर में was present your sporophyte. And you remember the sporophyte was distinguished into foot. This was foot. This was setae. And this was your capsule. You remember that? Within the capsule was, since this is a sporophyte, obviously it will form spore. Where will it form spore? Within sporangia. So where was the sporangia present? The sporangia was present in the capsule. So within the capsule was present sporangia, and this sporangia may by meiosis it forms spores, right? And these spores they got dispersed, वो नीचे गिरा, and from these spores a new gametophyte was formed. If you remember that. So what I actually want to tell you is कि अगर मेरा प्लांट जब भी sporophytic phase में होता है तो स्पोर बनाता है. स्पोर कहाँ बनाता है? In a sac-like structure called as sporangia. In bryophyte, where was the sporangia present? In bryophyte, the sporangia was present in capsule. So in pteridophyte, where is it present? That I want to tell you. So if you look at a pteridophyte ka plant, right? If you look at a pteridophyte ka plant, I will tell you. This is my plant. This is root, stem, leaf. Now I show you an amazing thing. What is the normal function of leaf? The normal function of leaf is to do photosynthesis. इनके plants के leaf photosynthesis तो करते हैं, but at the same time इनके leaf के underside में, towards the lower side of the leaf, right? They have the sporangia as well. That means this sporangia जो bryophyte पे present था in capsule, this sporangia is present on the underside of the leaf. ठीक? Since sporangia, these leaves, those leaves, so there are basically two types of leaves. Some leaves are normal green photosynthetic leaves. They are doing only photosynthesis, right? Normal green photosynthetic leaf. But on some leaves, on the undersurface of the leaf, we find this sporangia. So now we will name each one of them. We call these leaves as sporophylls. Sporophyll. Because I told you in biology, phyll means leaf, and those leaves जिसके underside में you have this sporangia which forms spore, we call them sporophyll. Within this sporophyll, we find the sporangia in clusters. See, this is one sporangia, another sporangia, another sporangia, another sporangia. The cluster of sporangia is called as sori. An individual is called as sporangia. And within this sporangia, the spores are formed, of course, by meiosis. ठीक है, ये meiosis करेगा, it will form spores, right? And these spores they will fall down. So these spores they will fall down, and after falling down they will form the next part of the plant, that is gametophyte. क्योंकि sporophyte से क्या बनता है? Gametophyte बनता है. So I just wanted to show you this once again. I'm not at all in a hurry to explain. I want you to understand. Pteridophytes are the first plant where the dominant phase is a sporophyte. If the dominant phase is a sporophyte, it will form spores. अब सवाल उठता है spore कहाँ बनेगा? We know that spores are formed in sac-like structures called as sporangia. तो अगला सवाल, where are these sporangia present? In case of pteridophytes, the leaves are normal green photosynthetic leaves, but some of the leaves, they on the undersurface, they contain sporangia. So such leaves are called as sporophylls. So such leaves are called as sporophylls. इनके नीचे में sporangia is found in cluster. The entire cluster is called as sori, and the individual is called as sporangia. And within each sporangia, अगर एक को बाहर निकाल लो, by meiosis spores are formed. Once the spore is formed within them, this spore will fall down and will form the next phase of the plant, that is the gametophyte. Is that clear? फिर gametophyte से sporophyte कैसे बनता है? We will see that later. For the time being, we will move ahead from this. So let us see this. So you can see it very clearly over here. These are the leaves. On the undersurface of the leaves, many of the leaves, you can see that we have group of sporangia. Each one of them they represent one sporangia, right? We have group of sporangia, and the entire structure is called as sori. And individual, this we call as sporangia. You can see it very well over here in this diagram. ठीक है? At maturity, the leaves become modified as sporophylls. These leaves they get modified to form sporophyll, and they bear sporangia. The sporophyll may be compactly arranged into a structures called as strobili or cones. इसको मैं पहले आपको समझा दूँ. See, first let me draw it somewhere to explain you. See, this is a pteridophyte plant. These are the leaves, and what are these leaves? These are sporophylls. That means they are forming spores. These leaves are sporophylls. They are forming spores. बहुत सारे टेरिडोफाइट्स में होता क्या है कि ये जो स्पोर बनाने वाले लीव्स हैं, ये सारे एक ही जगह क्लस्टर्ड हो जाते हैं. They all get clustered at one place. See, they are all making spores. So obviously all of them are sporophylls, right? All of them are sporophylls, but they get clustered at one place. And this structure, this is called as the cone or strobili. This is called as the cone or strobili. Now you have to understand one thing again. This cone is actually a characteristic of gymnosperm. ये cone gymnosperm में पाया जाता है. But मैंने कहा ना, one fine day magic नहीं होता कि हाँ टेरिडोफाइट था, उसके कुछ कैरेक्टर थे, and gymnosperm के अचानक कैरेक्टर बदल गए. You will find some pteridophytes which will have resemblance with gymnosperm, showing that the next plant gymnosperm is going to have these characters. I'll just show you in my next page. You can see this. This is the cone I'm talking about. You all have seen these cones in gymnosperms, very common. Gymnosperm में तो दोनों तरह के leaves अलग हो गए, एकदम अलग. They have some common green photosynthetic leaves. The work of this leaf is to do only photosynthesis, and those leaves which will form spores, right? They are called as sporophylls. They do not do photosynthesis. You can see they do not do photosynthesis. Rather, they just get organized to form cones or strobili. ठीक है? Pteridophytes में क्या difference है from here? In pteridophytes, the same leaf is doing photosynthesis. See, and the same leaf it bears, these sporangia. I'm making the sporophyll, na? They bear the sporangia at the back. But in gymnosperm, what they have done, clear cut. This will do only photosynthesis, and this will form only spore. So the spore forming leaves they get modified to form cones, and the other leaves they are normal green photosynthetic leaves. Now since this cone formation is there in gymnosperm, there are some pteridophytes. I want you to see this diagram. This is a very good diagram to understand. See this. If you in this, if you see that these are the spore forming leaves, and all the spore forming leaves they got clustered at one place. See how they got clustered at one place, and they formed a structure which resembles the cone of a gymnosperm, and this is called as a strobili. Right? This is not found in all the pteridophytes. In some pteridophytes at maturity, the spore forming leaves they form strobili. So let me come back to the original photo. What was I telling you? I was telling you that in pteridophytes, let me just show you what I have been telling you. That if you look at a pteridophyte, this is how it works. That the main plant body is differentiated into root, then stem, and then leaf. So this is a true root. It is an adventitious root. It helps in both absorption and anchorage. This is a true stem because it bears nodes which has leaves, and besides the stem also has vascular bundles. Besides it has leaves. Now these leaves are they are green photosynthetic leaves, but on the under surface, right, they bear sori. Within each sori, now let me draw a sori. There are many sporangia, and within each sporangia, so this is a sori. From the sori I have taken out a sporangia, and within the sporangia by meiosis what happens? The spores are formed, and these spores they will fall down. These spores they will fall down and they will form the gametophyte. Right? I was telling you that in case of pteridophytes, the same this leaf itself, I am just drawing it green as well. This leaf itself does photosynthesis. यही लीफ फोटोसिंथेसिस करता है, और यही लीफ के नीचे में क्या प्रेजेंट है? Sporangia present है. So the leaf has dual function, one of photosynthesis and the other it also acts as sporophyll. That means it forms spores. So it is doing dual function, right? It is acting as sporophyll. That means it is making spores. But in gymnosperms what they have done a specialization. What they have done is, this is my main plant body, and those leaves which will do photosynthesis, they are separate. And those leaves which will form these spores, which I am drawing in red color, these, that means sporophylls, they are separate and they are clustered together to form cones or strobili. Right? These are the normal leaves. They will only do photosynthesis. Right? And these leaves are actually sporophylls. They will only form spores. And these sporophylls, they are basically organized as cones. Now I hope you understand. But there is no one fine day. कि one fine day ऐसा नहीं हुआ कि इससे ये बन गया. ऐसा नहीं कि इससे ये बना. There are some pteridophytes where these spore forming leaves, actually they have tried to form not a true cone but something like a cone, जिसको हम लोग strobili भी कहते हैं. Right? So that is what I was trying to show you. See, एक typical gymnosperm का cone ऐसा दिखता है. But in many of the pteridophytes, they have tried to accumulate these leaves to form a cone-like structure, also called as strobili. Now, on the undersurface of the leaf, as I told you, do you have a lot of sporangia? So you can see here, बहुत सारे sporangia. This is a sporangia, 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 and the entire cluster is called as sori. S-O-R-I. The sporangia contains sporogenous tissue, and within this sporangia, you will have sporogenous tissue which undergoes meiosis to form the spores. So this is one sporangia, and you can see that within the sporangia spores are formed, and these spores are being liberated. Once the spore drops down, वो नीचे गिर जाता है, तो क्या बनाएगा? Gametophyte बनाएगा. Now this gametophyte is basically heart shaped, and this is called as prothallus. Now this also first I will try to show you first. Now see, this is a pteridophyte. It's the root, it is the stem. Now this is the leaf. On the undersurface of the leaf, right, you have sori. I'm going to use different colors for everything. You have the sori. Within the sori, you have sporangia. And within the sporangia, by meiosis, you form spores. And these spores will fall down. And since this plant is a sporophyte, these spores will fall down and they will form the gametophyte. And the gametophyte, which is formed in pteridophytes, it is little flattened, appressed to the surface. This is heart-shaped in structure, and this heart-shaped gametophyte is called as prothallus. This is heart-shaped gametophyte, which is called as prothallus. Now you have to understand. Why is it that in pteridophytes, the sporophyte is erect and tall? You can see here, the sporophyte is erect and tall. एकदम ऐसे एकदम लंबा चौड़ा है. इसके विपरीत, ठीक opposite, the gametophyte is just like a lotus leaf. एकदम appressed to the substratum, flattened and appressed to the substratum, and this is erect. Why? Because the sporophyte forms spores, and the spores are dispersed through air. So I can be tall. I can be tall because the spores need air to disperse. So, and the taller I will be, more will be the air current, the better dispersal of spores. So I am erect, I am tall because I make spores, and the spores can move with the help of air, right? But the gametophyte forms gamete, and you know that in them the gamete transfer takes place through water. Here the gamete transfer takes place through water. So I need to be close to the ground, close to the water, राइट मुझे तो एकदम नीचे मॉइस्ट एरिया में एकदम पानी के पास रहना होगा सो दैट माय मेल गैमेट कैन इजीली ट्रांसफर टू द फीमेल गैमेट. सो दिस इज हार्ट शेप स्ट्रक्चर दैट इज गैमेटोफाइट. इट इज कॉल्ड एज प्रोथैलस. नाउ इट हैज मल्टीसेलर एंथ्रीडिया and it has multicellular jacket archegonia. So this I am drawing as antheridia, that is the male gametangia, and this is archegonia, which is the female gametangia. Now you know that the male gametangia will form male gametes, and you know that the male gametes since ये पानी से जाएगा, so the male gametes will be biflagellated with the help of water. So now let me draw water. यहाँ पानी है मेरा. Through water the male gamete will enter into the oogonia. The oogonia has a single large non-motile egg. These gametes will go inside, and once these gametes they go inside, they will form zygote. Right? So fertilization is internal. You can see it very clear. These zygote will now divide to form a sporophyte. Right? Again, root, stem, and leaf, and thus the sporophyte, the gametophyte, will once again form sporophyte. Now that I have already done it on the blackboard over here. Now let us look at the gametophyte. As I told you, the gametophyte is ekdam heart shaped, appressed to the substratum. So spore germinates to form a multicellular, free living, autotrophic. Inconspicuous, these are very small. Inconspicuous means something very small, something which is not very clearly distinguished by naked eyes. Gametophyte. This gametophyte is called as prothallus. The gametophyte has sex organs called as antheridia and archegonia, which will produce the male and female gamete respectively. So this is the photograph of a real gametophyte. Now you can see here in this we have antheridia and archegonia. The male gamete will come into the archegonia, fertilization will take place leading to the formation of zygote. Now this zygote will divide and once again it will form a sporophyte. So this is how the life cycle works. So here is the diagram of the life cycle of pteridophyte. I really want you to see it very well once again so that you can understand everything. So this is the main plant body of the pteridophyte, which is a sporophyte. It is distinguished into root, stem and leaf. The roots are, you can see, adventitious roots. The stem is a true stem because it bears leaves, and moreover it has vascular bundle, and these are the leaves. Some of the leaves, they develop spores. So these are called as sporophylls. Right, these are called as sporophylls. On the undersurface you will find clusters of sporangia called as sori. Within this there is a single sporangia. Within the sporangia spores are formed by meiosis, and the spore will fall down and it will form a heart shaped gametophyte, and this heart shaped gametophyte is called as prothallus. Now this will bear antheridia and archegonia. You can see over here, this is your antheridia, this is your archegonia. The antheridia forms many biflagellated male gametes, and the archegonia forms a single large non-motile female gamete. Via water the male gamete will go inside, fertilization will be internal, and you can see within the archegonia the zygote will be formed. This zygote will divide and re-divide to form again a sporophyte, and thus the sporophytic phase will be formed again. Now if you look at it very closely, you will realize that in these plants, अगर आप इसको बहुत गौर से देखेंगे तो आप इस बात को realize करेंगे कि इन plants में ये the main plant body is a sporophyte, right, which is diploid. You can see that 2n, and for majority part of the life is they are a sporophyte. They are a sporophyte which is a diploid, but the haploid part, that is a gametophyte, that is also formed. And unlike pteridophytes where one was parasitic on the other, I just want to remind you of this. In pteridophyte, the main plant body was a gametophyte. If you remember, here the main plant body is a sporophyte. Here it was gametophyte. And on this gametophyte, the sporophyte was non-green. It was non-green, non-photosynthetic and parasitic. So this was basically parasite here. In contrast, here, this sporophyte will form spore which falls down. So both the sporophyte and the gametophyte are free living, green, photosynthetic, and the gametophyte, it stays for some time. ये थोड़े दिन रुकता है, ठीक? That means यहाँ both diploid and haploid phase पाया जाता है, पर ज़्यादा diploid पाया जाता है. So we call it as diplohaplontic life cycle. ठीक? So with that, the characteristic structure and life cycle of pteridophytes is complete. For my own satisfaction, I would just like to make you revise everything that I've taught you about pteridophytes once more before we go to some of its important examples and economic importance, and of course another word called as heterospory, which is very important and very relevant to pteridophytes as well. So as I told you, pteridophytes are the first plants which are terrestrial in the sense that they have two roots, stem and leaf. These are first plants which have vascular bundle. They are the first plant where the main plant body is a sporophyte, right? They have two roots which does both absorption and anchorage. These are adventitious to stem because it bears leaves, as well as it does photosynthesis, as well as they have two leaves because they do photosynthesis, but the leaves have a dual function. Besides, they also have sporangia, right? So the leaves are also called as sporophylls. They have sporangia which will form spore. The spore will fall down, it will form a heart-shaped gametophyte, which is also called as prothallus, which will have multicellular antheridia and archegonia. Antheridia will form biflagellated sperms which will enter into the archegonia, fertilize to form zygote, and once again a sporophyte will be formed. So this is about your pteridophytes. Now that we have done this, so let us move to one word called as homosporous and heterosporous. Actually, heterospory is a characteristic of gymnosperm and angiosperm. This is a characteristic of gymnosperms and angiosperms. But I told you, one fight में magic नहीं हुआ था कि suddenly bryophyte homosporous था and एक magic हुआ and the gymnosperms and the angiosperms, they became heterosporous. No magic. I told you there are some transition groups. So some pteridophytes, they also became heterosporous, which was later called as the defining feature of gymnosperms and angiosperm. So though all pteridophytes are homosporous, all gymnosperms and angiosperms are heterosporous, there is a group of pteridophyte which is sort of a connecting link, which is heterosporous like gymnosperm, just giving us clues that what lies in the future. आगे के plant gymnosperm कैसे बनने वाले. So let me first give you an idea about what is homosporous and heterosporous. First let me give it on the blackboard, on this board. Then I will show you some diagrams, and then there is just follow the iCard above. There I have given the link where I have given one detailed class on heterospory, particularly in gymnosperm, because true heterospory has actually come in gymnosperm. So heterospory का एक gymnosperm, केवल heterospory क्या होता है and how it has been formed in gymnosperm, उस पे मैंने वीडियो बनाया. Please follow the link above so that you can actually come to know what it is all about. First, what is this homosporous and heterosporous? Now you have to understand. The main plant body is a sporophyte, right? So we'll do it fast. The sporophyte has sporophyll. The sporophyll has sporangia, and the sporangia forms spore, and the spore will fall down to form a gametophyte. Now gametophyte we have only of one type, and in this gametophyte we have both antheridia and archegonia, for forming the male and female gametes respectively, which will form the male gamete and this will form the female gamete respectively. That means we have only one type of spore. You can see here, this one एक तरह का spore है, spore एक है तो gametophyte भी एक है. उस gametophyte में आपका antheridia and archegonia बनता है to form male and female gametophyte, right? So we have only one type of spore. This is called as homosporous condition. Now let us come to heterosporous condition and what does it mean. So let me explain heterospory on another slide, right? So now look at this. I have a plant and it will form gametophyte. Now I want two types of gametophyte. Say one gametophyte is the male gametophyte, which will have here only antheridia and which will form only sperms or the male gamete. The other gametophyte is going to be female gametophyte. I am not writing full. This will have only archegonia and this will form only egg. I want this. So if I want two types of gametophyte, we know that gametophyte are formed from spores. So I need to form two spores. That spore which forms the male gametophyte, normally it is smaller in size, so I call it as microspore. And that which forms female gametophyte is larger in size, so we call it as megaspore. I need two types of spore because I am making two gametophytes. If I am making two types of spores, the spores are formed in sporangia. So I need two different sporangia, right? The microspore will be formed in microsporangia, and the megaspore is going to be formed in megasporangia. This is going to be formed in megasporangia. Now we know that the sporangia are formed where? On leaves, sporophyll. So I need two different types of leaves. This is microsporophyll. Okay, this is a sporophyll, but it is a microsporophyll. Okay, and now I'm going to change the color. And there is another type of leaf. This will form megaspore. So this is called as megasporophyll. Megasporophyll, and it is going to have megasporangia as well. Megasporangia, which will form megaspore, which will form this, right? That means I am going to have two distinct type of leaves. Just see here. Some of the leaves will be microsporophyll, and some of them will be megasporophyll. This will go for this and this will go for this. That means in gymnosperms, basically, we decided we will have two different gametophyte, one for male, one for female. Okay? The male gametophyte will bear antheridia, which will form the male gamete. The female will form archegonia, which will have female gamete. It's good if I have two different gametophytes, but gametophyte is formed from spores, so I will need two different types of spores as well. This, plants who have two types of spores. One is microspore and the megaspore. This is called as heterospory, which is a characteristic of gymnosperm, but some pteridophytes also show it. If I have two different types of spores, I must have two different types of sporangia as well. See, this is microsporangia, this is megasporangia. So this is microsporophyll. It has microsporangia. Okay, this will form microspore, and this microspore will form male gametophyte. Similarly, this is megasporophyll. This is megasporangia. It will form megaspore, and the megaspore will form female gametophyte. And this is characteristic, again I am saying, of gymnosperm and angiosperm. But some pteridophytes, they show two different types of leaves. Microsporophyll, megasporophyll, microsporangia, megasporangia, thus microspore and megaspore, and thus they have two different gametophytes as well. Right? You can ask me, ma'am, what is the significance of having two types of gametophyte? It is because of the presence of these two gametophytes that the seed formation was possible. How? Again I told you, please follow my video link which is given above. There I have clearly explained how these heterospory, it led to the formation of seed, how it led to the evolution of seed. इसका एक मैंने पूरा अलग से वीडियो बनाया है, so please see that. अभी तो फिलहाल आप टेरिडोफाइट में एक चीज सिर्फ इतना याद रखिए कि the टेरिडोफाइट्स में there are some pteridophytes which are homosporous. You have the example also like Lycopodium, ferns, etc. Some of them are heterosporous. Very important example, Selaginella, Marsilia and Salvinia. These examples are very, very, very important for your medical entrance examination. So now those who are heterosporous, they have two types of leaf, microsporophyll and megasporophyll, two types of sporangia. Microsporophyll will have microsporangia, megasporophyll will have megasporangia. Thus two types of spore. Microsporangia will form microspore, megasporangia will form megaspore. Thus they will form two gametophyte. The microspore will form male gametophyte and the megaspore will form the female gametophyte. Now this male gametophyte will form antheridia. Now this will form antheridia which will produce the male gamete, and the female gametophyte will form archegonia which will form the female gamete. Then fertilization will lead to the formation of zygote and that will lead to the formation of sporophyte as well. So once again let us follow the life cycle of a plant which is Selaginella, which is heterosporous. So see what happens in them. In them you can see that this is the main plant body. It produces cones or strobili. Now this has two types. One is this, you can see megasporophyll. They have megasporangia, they will form megaspore. This is your microsporophyll. They will have microsporangia which will form microspore. So we have one megaspore and one microspore. The megaspore will form archegonia which will form egg, and the microspore will form antheridia, this male male gametophyte. This male gametophyte will form the male gametes, and now the male and female gamete will fertilize to form the zygote, and the zygote will divide to again form the sporophyte. So you can see here two types of spores are being formed in Selaginella, which is an excellent example of heterospory. What is the significance? Please learn it for the time being. Please follow my next video to understand how heterospory led to the formation of seed. But for the time being, in heterosporous species, the female gametophyte remains on the sporophyte. This is a step towards seed habit. This is very important line. This comes in medical. This statement has been coming time and again in the medical exam, that which of the pteridophytes are heterosporous and what is the significance of heterosporous. In heterospory, what happens? The female gametophyte remains on the sporophyte. What this is, I told you. To understand this line, please follow my next video, where I'll be showing how seed was formed due to heterospory. But for the time being, just learn this, and this is a step towards seed habit. This is an example of this is, I told you, it is Selaginella. So I'm just showing here once again. This is a comparative diagram of, this is a bryophyte. In bryophyte, the main plant body is gametophyte, you can see, and the sporophyte is parasitic on it. In pteridophyte, the main plant body is sporophyte, and gametophyte is free living, independent, and but very small and reduced. And in case of seed plants, it is just the reverse. What is this showing? I will explain you like this. See, this is, follow from here. This is bryophyte. The main plant body is gametophyte, and this is the sporophyte, right? In pteridophyte, what happens is it has both gametophyte and sporophyte independent, and in gymnosperm and angiosperm it is like this. That means the main plant body is a sporophyte and gametophyte is parasitic. So it moves like this. Once again, I'll show it closely. This is bryophyte, this is gametophyte, this is sporophyte. Main plant body is gametophyte and sporophyte is parasitic. In pteridophyte, both of them are independent, free-living, photosynthetic. And in gymnosperms and angiosperm, the main plant body is sporophyte and gametophyte is parasitic. So it's just the reverse of bryophyte. Just the reverse. This is gametophyte, sporophyte. Here, this is sporophyte, gametophyte. Beech mein pteridophyte is the only one where it has both of them as independent. This I am going to teach you in my coming lectures. These are very important. These things, they come in the medical exam as well. Now, classification of pteridophytes, they are divided into four types: Psilopsida, Lycopsida, Sphenopsida and Pteropsida. Some examples. Psilopsida, just know the examples, that's more than enough for your medical. It includes Psilotum and Rhynia. Lycopsida, it includes Lycopodium and Selaginella. Sphenopsida, it includes Equisetum. And Pteropsida, it includes Dryopteris, Adantium or the walking fern, and Pteris. Right, the most common examples that are that come from pteridophytes and which is given in your NCERT is, these are NCERT diagrams. Please do learn these diagrams, the example, try to identify them. Don't try to draw them, but try to identify them. Examples are very important in medical. This is your Selaginella, this is your Salvinia, this is the fern, and this is the Equisetum. Now, the economic importance of pteridophyte, they are grown as ornamental plant because of the foliage. You must have seen that in many cases in bouquet and all those stuff, we use, these pteridophyte leaves for decoration. The rhizomes and petioles of Dryopteris yield vermifuge drug. जो पेट में कीड़े हो जाते हैं ना, उसमें जो दवाई देते हैं डॉक्टर, the vermifuge drug. This is one of them is derived from the rhizome and petiole of Dryopteris. इसके अलावा the sporocarp of Marsilia is used as food by certain tribes. There are many tribes which eat, many of the pteridophytes. So this is about the economic importance of pteridophyte. Now I'll move to the NCERT discussion before I conclude today's lecture. So over to NCERT. Please open page 34 of your NCERT. You can see it has given that pteridophytes, basically they involve horsetails and ferns, right? Then the pteridophytes are used for medicinal purposes and soil binders. So please learn these examples. This is the economic importance. They are also grown as ornamental plants. Now they are the first terrestrial plants that have xylem and phloem. They are found in cool, damp, shady places. Now in them the dominant phase is the gametophytic plant body. That is the dominant phase. You may recall that in bryophyte. In bryophyte the main plant body is a gametophyte, but in pteridophyte it is the sporophyte. Now this is differentiated into root, stem and leaf. I told you the sporophytic plant it is this plant which is differentiated into root, stem and leaf. The organs produce vascular tissues. The leaves Maybe small, I told you, learn the example, Selaginella, or large, as in ferns. The sporophyte bears sporangia that is found on leaf-like structures called as sporophyll. In some cases, the sporophyll may form cones or strobili. Learn the example as in Equisetum and Selaginella. The sporangia will produce spore. The spore will germinate to form an inconspicuous but small. Now these are the diagrams which are important. Free living, mostly photosynthetic, right? Thalloid, like gametophyte. Okay? So it will form your gametophyte. The first gametophyte is heart shaped. It is called as prothallus. You know that. These gametophyte require cool, shady place for the transfer of gamete. Okay? That is why they are restricted in the narrow geographical region. The gametophyte has male and female sex organ, Antheridia and Archegonia. They require water for the transfer. It moves to the mouth of the Archegonia. Then it will fuse to form zygote, and the zygote will form the sporophyte. In majority of the pteridophyte, the spore is of one type, it is homosporous. But in Selaginella and Salvinia, two types of spores, the macro and microspores are formed. This condition is called as heterosporous. The spores, they germinate to give rise to male and female gametophyte. The gametophyte are retained on the, now this line you are going to understand in my next lecture, that the female gametophyte are retained on the parent sporophyte for variable period. This event is a precursor of seed habit. Now it is the 4 class and their examples. Right? Only this line I did not explain you, that the gametophyte are retained on the parent plant for variable period. This is actually the precursor of seed habit. To understand this, just view my next video. I am giving the its link can be shown in the iCard above, where I have clearly explained how heterospory led to the formation of seeds. So with that, we have completed pteridophytes in detail. We know about all its characteristics, a little bit about heterospory, all the examples. Very, very, very important for medical examination. Jitna padha hai, please be thorough with that, as I always tell you. And if you feel good, don't forget to like, subscribe, press the bell notification, and most important, to put your comments. Share it with your friends if you think it is worth sharing. New to my channel, do subscribe. And before my next lecture, where I'll be dealing in detail, now that will be really, really very interesting. What is the concept of heterospory and how it led to the formation of seed, and how heterospory was an advantage to gymnosperm and angiosperm. Right? So wait for my next video. Till then, study hard, take care, and goodbye. Thank you.